a hat tip to Russell Wilson tonight. You were unbelievable. You played like an MVP in this league. You were, wow, the way he was escaping the pocket, the way he was fighting receivers downfield, not much the Eagles defense could have done. And then you got Carson Wentz. Didn't play well tonight. Left 17 points on the field. Missed Agholor twice. One would have been potentially a field goal had he hit him in stride. And the other, in the second half, would have been a touchdown. And then you had his first red zone turnover of the season. So Carson Wentz, not his best effort tonight. Philly 500 is here. I'm Adrian Fedke. The Eagles are 10-2. They lose in Seattle.
They lose in Seattle. A big, humbling loss for the Eagles tonight. I feel like not only Carson wasn't good, which was true, but I also think that Doug didn't come out with his strongest performance either. I think across the board, they weren't good. Coach, quarterback, defense, the whole thing. They weren't good. And it started with the 4th and inches or 4th and 1, the real short early in the game. Typical Eagles was to go for that. They came out and they punted. I think what happened is we're looking at a young team who was in the moment of a primetime game, playoff implications, everything, the biggest games of their careers, going up against a Super Bowl champion team, a Super Bowl champion quarterback, and they had to learn a lesson tonight. They had to learn a lesson, and I think they did, hopefully.
Seattle played like Seattle tonight. This is how the elite teams, they start to emerge after Thanksgiving. These are the teams that you don't want to play when they start getting hot in the playoffs. So we'll see how this team bounces back, because this is about how this team bounces back and plays the Rams now. All right? Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, it is. It's about bouncing back because you're in a street fight now. You're in a big brawl now because you're not going to get time to rest your players. You're not going to get any of that. Minnesota jumped the Eagles, at least what they're saying. They're trying to get the first seed. We're trying to get the first seed. The Rams got a shot for a 1 or 2 seed. This is a big street brawl, and the Eagles got to find a way to have a short memory and bounce back and beat the Rams. You got to beat the Rams. But tonight, this has pissed me off, this game. I'm telling you, this game has me irate. There's so many things that I'm not happy about this game. And I'm not going to blame just Doug or just Carson or just the defense or just the refs or just the fact they don't challenge that forward pass. All those stuff went bad. I don't know what else to say. Right now, Seattle beat the crap out of us. So let's give them the credit. I'll give it to Russell Wilson, give it to Seattle. But I'm upset about this. I'm upset about this loss.
You know what happened tonight? It was the same thing as the Dallas game. Whole first half, they just started flat. You know, 1 target for Zach Ertz and Alshon Jeffrey combined. Like, Wentz had how many yards in the first half? It was pitiful. It was a terrible first half. It was a very conservative first half. I didn't like it at all. So it was just like the Dallas game. The Eagles didn't play well. They were down at the break. And then in the second half, they did make adjustments because on the first drive of the second half, 2 receptions for Jeffrey, 2 for Ertz. And they went all the way down the field. And then Wentz fumbled at the goal line.
Unbelievable.
Fumbled at the goal line.
Unbelievable.
First red zone turnover of the year. Why?
And Torrey Smith with his cane, he's running, trying to get the ball. He's running. He's so slow. He can't get to the ball. Sitting there, get the damn ball. And he's just so slow. Get Hollins in there. He's too slow. The ball was just floating around the back of the end zone for it seemed like for 2 minutes, and nobody could get it. It was the most annoying thing in the world. But yeah, Carson, he fumbled. The Eagles decided today that they wanted to run the read option. Why, I don't know, but they did, and they kept running it. And I hate when they run it. I hate it. It's just so annoying. Ugh. man, this game's got me pissed off.
That's usually when they've been going to Ertz all year. Just flip it right to him on the seam. Now, he had Bobby Wagner's great in coverage. Like, those linebackers are great. But, like, the fact that Alshon Jeffrey wasn't getting involved until the second half baffles me. Baffles me. We talked about how they didn't have Richard Sherman, Cam Chancellor, and you didn't even attack him. This was just like the Dallas game. And this shows that you can get away with this against Dallas because they came out in the second half and they were able to establish the momentum. They scored touchdowns. Tonight, turnover. For the first time, they had 18 touchdowns in their last 20 red zone drives. And then turnover tonight.
Broken up.
Oh.
That was horrible. It was horrible. You just broke up there for a second. Now you're back.
All right, cool.
It must be the Seahawk birds crapping on my house or something. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, look, it's just I don't know. I feel like that part of me feels like, you know, it's a learning experience. And I hate to say that because you don't feel like that right now. But you're a 10-2 team. We just got to let it go and get on to the Rams, right? I mean, that's the whole thing. It's an ugly game, and I think there was a lot of guys didn't play their best tonight. I thought Nelson Agholor. I want to give Nelson Agholor a shout out.
Yes,
he was really good, and it was good to see him go back to Seattle and kind of revenge that. You know what I mean? I was really proud of him, and I'll tell you one thing. Carson Wentz, that one play on third down, my God, how did he make
both of them?
Pass?
Both of them.
My God, I mean, dude, the guy has a cannon to throw that ball, like 50 yards going down? That was amazing. You know, and I thought at that point, the game turned around. I said, we scored touchdown here. I believed that I felt like we knew how to move the ball in their defense. They kind of figured out what they wanted to do. But the defense couldn't get off the field, and then there was that forward pass. Now, some people say, oh, it was a forward. That was a forward pass. That he threw the ball at the 47, and it landed at the 48. And they should have called that. And if they would have called that, we might have got the ball back. Maybe things go a little differently. I don't know. But
here's the thing about that play, because when you watch it initially, it looks like a lateral. But when they go to the next, a couple slow-mos, and you see where Wilson actually releases the ball. He actually does release it, and it goes forward about a yard. And I think Doug was afraid to challenge it because he challenged something in the first half, and he got it wrong. And, he didn't really get it wrong. But the thing about this was the way they are on 4th and 1s, I was like, at the time, I was like, just go for it. Why even challenge it? Because in those situations, you have, they'll use the indisputable evidence or whatever, and they'll just keep it on the field to play it safe. But in this situation, man, you got to challenge it, right?
You got to challenge that. I mean, I would think you would challenge that just on the basis of the point you were at in the game. You needed the ball back.
Yes.
And it was such a pivotal play. I thought you would challenge it because it was close. I mean, my initial thing was
they were still within, 7 at that point?
Yeah, they were 7. They had just scored a touchdown. Carson makes that amazing play on third, gets Agholor. Then he finds him again, like you said, the second amazing touchdown pass. And they go back. And Seattle goes down and drives down, and that was brutal. That was a big play in the game. I wish he would have done it.
Unfortunately, lost Philly 500 for the second. All right, so we'll see if he comes back. All right, so this game, when you look at the yards and all this stuff, it's crazy because the Eagles, 425 to 310. They did what they wanted to do for the most part on third down. Carson Wentz still flung it pretty well on third down. But it came down, again, to Wentz not making the plays. All right, Philly 500, you're back?
Yeah, did it go out?
Yeah, it went out for a second. All right.
Oh, yeah, it's acting weird.
Yeah. So, dude, I think this game really goes back to just Carson because you look at these statistics, the first downs, all that. It's crazy because in some ways, I thought the defensive line played well, right? Because they were standing after Wilson. But really in the second half, they started. They didn't start happening until the second half because here's what happened in the first half. They weren't containing the gaps. Vinny Curry was, kind of coming too far inside. And then they figured it out. But Wilson is just so unbelievably, remarkably talented that he was able to make stuff out of these situations. I just can't believe it. And it reminds you what Wentz has been doing at times. He showed it on the third downs. So that's why these guys are serious, MVP candidates. Like they talk about, Wilson might have just, started vaulting himself if he carries his team to a playoff spot.
I think right now, I think Wilson, to me, I still would put Carson ahead.
Yeah.
But I would put Wilson right on his tail. I'd put him over Brady because Seattle's nothing without him. They can't run the ball. They can't do anything. So, to me, it's going to be a battle between Russell Wilson and Carson the rest of the way. I thought the defensive line was getting some pressure on him. I think he got away with a few intentional groundings, but it is what it is.
And all those freaking calls on the secondary.
But yeah, in the secondary though, they played off a lot. I thought they would have been a lot more up on the receivers than they were. Yeah. I guess they're worried that he's going to scramble, but a couple of those third downs, he had easy slants to hit a guy, 3rd and 5. There's an easy slant. There was nothing there. They were giving him so much cushion. I didn't like that either. This is a hard game to lose because it's been so long since we took a beating like this. But, man, this may be what we needed. And I'm trying to be positive and not all negative, but this was a playoff atmosphere. The Eagles got a taste. Carson, they got a taste of what it's like, I think. So hopefully
this shows how important home field is and how imperative it is for the Eagles to get it and to snatch it and for them to bounce back and to win against the Rams now. They have to win now. This is what it's about now. You got to put them aside. They didn't play well tonight, but in some ways it was encouraging because they you think about how they lost last year, right? They just kind of whimpered. They went down with a whimper. They lost. They were beaten, soundly beaten. But tonight you saw them fight back, and you saw Carson Wentz on those 2 third downs. I thought that was encouraging. I see positive signs out of this game in some ways. It's a humbling loss, but by God, it's about, I think, again, it's Carson, man. Like he left 7. These are 17 points he hasn't left on the field all season long. This is the first time he made mistakes. We saw him. He was human tonight.
He was human. He made mistakes. He made some bad throws. Early on in the game, that overthrow to Agholor was wide open. He would have been running too. He had a lot of daylight. Yeah, Carson did not have – look, I can't defend Carson Wentz. He did not have a great game tonight. He kept battling. They kept fighting. And Russell Wilson was too much. Give credit where it's due, I guess. I want to punch a hole in the wall. I'm frustrated that much. That game drives me nuts. I'm sick and tired of Seattle. I'm so sick of Seattle because they seem to have our number. But, look, I can't – this is one of those games that will be very easy to turn the page tomorrow and focus on the Rams. You know what I mean? Because this was brutal. The Rams game is must win. Must win. If you don't win that game, you're looking at a possible 3rd seed. A 3rd seed. No bye week. That's how big this game is. Because the Rams would have a head-to-head against you, right? Yeah. The Rams have 3 losses, I believe, right?
Yes.
So they would have 3 losses. The Eagles would have 3 losses. The Rams would then be the 2 seed. Minnesota would be the 1 seed. We would be a 3rd seed. This could drop us out of a bye week. This is a humongous game. Everybody get ready. This game is the biggest game of the year coming up. Get your eggnog. Get it. Get it.
Dude, I honestly think it's simply about Carson bouncing back. He needs to bounce back from this. And in some ways he played well in third down. He was what, 5 of 7 or 6 of 8, whatever he was, for like 90-something yards. But he missed those throws. And I thought, like, the defense battled. They allowed 24 points, and this Eagles team, for the most part this season, has been able to comfortably eclipse 20. You would have thought that this Eagles team against this secondary would have put up like 24 to 27 points tonight, and they didn't. And they held Russell Wilson. He's been hot lately. This team is starting to come together. This is when they ascend. This is the Seattle team that you don't want to see. They're coming now.
Yeah.
And that's what this is about.
And I think Pete Morelli is related to the refs tonight. Just to say. Because let me tell you, there are some calls that the Eagles, I thought, were weak on the Eagles, and it cost them. And I'm not saying it cost them the game, but there were crucial penalties on third downs.
Yes,
we had stopped, and it would give them a first down and keep going. You can't give Russell Wilson that many opportunities. You know what I mean? And they got it. I mean, they got a lot of them. I thought in the first half, I was very frustrated with the play calling. I thought that short outside passes, looking for Torrey Smith, who can't stand up on his own. He's falling down. I just didn't like.
Needs to be out there.
Yeah, you have Byron Maxwell who's out there. As soon as they started pushing the ball 10, 15 yards over the middle, starting throwing downfield a little bit, they were eating Seattle alive. If they did that in the first half, could be a big different game. But there's a lot of that, If Carson doesn't fumble, right? If Carson doesn't fumble, it's a touch. You're probably going to get a touchdown. If Alshon Jeffrey doesn't get that holding call, you're probably getting a touchdown. So there's a lot of blame all the way around for this game. It's a team loss, definitely.
And, I look at the running game, too, because they got it going for a while there in the first half. They weren't throwing the ball, the way you wanted them to throw the ball. They're playing the ball, they were playing really kind of scared in the first half, throwing the ball. But they were able to gain traction in the running game. In the second half, that was kind of non-existent. Seattle kind of started shutting it down. And but they did start, getting Jeffrey Ertz involved more, and then it sucked that Ertz got hurt. So we'll see. I believe it looks like he had a concussion there. When he fell to the turf. So that would be a big loss now all of a sudden. But man, why didn't they just throw some balls up to Jeffrey? Well, I've been waiting for this. Just by God, you're on Shaquille Griffin. You're on Byron Maxwell. Why aren't you just throwing the ball up there? Those 50-50 balls that we just extended him to catch. Throw them up. And let them go get it. I don't understand why didn't they do much of that tonight.
Yeah. I mean, there's just a lot. There's a lot of that, And I guess look, it's been a while since we've lost, but there's a lot of that, like woulda, coulda, shoulda. I guess we just lost, and we just got to take it on the chin. We got to pick ourselves up, dust ourselves off, and get ready. I mean. We're still 10-2, right? We're still 10-2, and I'm telling myself this, trying to comfort myself, like I'm talking to everybody else out there. Like it's a hard loss, man. And the Cowboy fans are in full effect. Those dingbats are so happy we lost. They don't care that it hurts them. They're just happy.
Yeah, it hurts their playoff.
That's how stupid you are. You're a stupid star. Hate this.
Yeah. Oh, dingbats. All of them. Dingbats.
Yeah.
Big dingbats. All right.
But look, the Rams game is huge. It's huge. It's the game of games,
Yeah. And I believe Carson Wentz is going to bounce back. So I think that's what it's about. And you look at what Seattle was able to do in the first half when they got up 10-0. And this was a game the Eagles aren't used to playing. They've been used to playing ahead with the lead. This was off script for them. So they weren't able to play from behind tonight. They made mistakes when it mattered.
Yeah.
And, again, this goes back to just learning from it, turning the page, learning from it. This was a playoff game tonight, basically. This is playoff atmosphere. This is Seattle, in Seattle, after Thanksgiving. This is when the games matter for them. And they fell 24-10.
Yeah, they did. And it definitely had that feel. I mean, like we talked about, I texted you earlier. I said, I feel uneasy about this game because there's just something there. Like you could tell with the way all the games were today. They've got that next level, like intensity. You know what I mean? Because the playoffs are ramping up. It's after Thanksgiving. And I wonder what if the Eagles, like being young, are just kind of learning that tonight at Seattle. There's something to be said about a team that has been there, that has done it, who is seasoned in the playoffs and knows how to handle these kind of situations. And then young teams that don't, But the great teams, the great young kids that do something, they learn from it. So that's what we're going to see. That's the big question this week.
Yeah, I agree. But, dude, Nelson Agholor, he came out to play. It was 6 for 141, and he could have had a lot more. I love that more than anything I saw tonight was him. Him, the way he played tonight. There's no more where's Nelson Agholor videos for you. No more IA. He is here. He's alive. We have revived him this season. We've revived him.
I'm going to have to find somebody else to look for, but not Nelson Agholor.
Torrey Smith. Torrey Smith
needs to go to a retirement community.
Yes.
He just doesn't have it anymore. Nice guy, great person, but he's just too old. But the one thing about Nelson was this was the place he had the meltdown last year. Yeah. So for him, from a mental standpoint, to come back here to Seattle and play the way he did is such a great sign, and it gives me so much confidence in him. And for me, who has killed Nelson Agholor, I want to make sure that I give him as much credit as possible because I think he deserves it.
You know what else kind of happened tonight? Run defense, not as hot tonight.
Yeah.
Seattle got ahead. They ran the ball, and this isn't supposed to be a good running team. They ran the ball. You look at this Mike Davis kid. They've gone through so many running backs this year. It's like Thomas Rawls. They had that kid Chris Carson. They've gone through Cheeseburger, Eddie Lacy. Who else you got? You got J.D. McKissick. He's shown a couple flashes the last couple of weeks.
Right.
Mike Davis tonight, 16 for 64, helped by Russell Wilson as well. 6 carries for 61 yards there. 25 in all for 101 yards.
Yeah.
So that's a lot more than the Eagles are accustomed to. The first time the Eagles have allowed a 100-yard rushing team since week 2.
Wow, that is something.
I believe that actually no, that might not be true. I think I'm thinking individual rusher, but I'll have to look at that.
Well, the last game that you can remember where a running back had an impact on the Eagles was Hunt, right?
Yeah,
at Kansas City game. And in that Kansas City game, they played. I thought they played better than they did tonight. And you got to give Seattle credit, but look, I think the Eagles are a lot better team than what we saw. I do. I don't think they played their best game. Maybe this is a trip up that they need. Only time will tell. But right now, the most important thing is just to get ready for LA. I don't want to think about this game anymore. When this night is over and I wake up tomorrow, I'm not thinking about Seattle anymore. I can't wait to just get past this game.
I know I keep bringing up Carson Wentz, but it's like it just shows how important he is for the success of the team as well. What he like at the end of the day, it looks like 348 yards, 29 and 45, but it really wasn't. Again, it's the 17 points he left on the field. 27-24 could have been the scoreline potentially. You looked at something like that. And so the way I look at it, like the rest of the team, all right, so Jay Ajayi, 9 for 35. Like there are other areas where I didn't think they looked bad in. The running game in all, 26 for 98. It's the 3.8 average, but they were able to just kind of consistently churn a running game. But in the second half, it did get shut down. But you look at the receiving core. It's on Doug Peterson in the first half, and then the second half, he did go to his Jeffries. Trey Burton got involved once Ertz got hurt. But, and Agholor. So you look at what they did as a whole. When you take away Wentz from the equation, it wasn't too bad when you really think about it. Like the 24-10 scoreline, in a way, wasn't indicative in some ways of how the score could have went.
Yeah, I think this team goes as Carson Wentz goes. There's no doubt about it. And though I didn't like the play calling.
He didn't play like an MVP tonight. This is the first time all season he didn't play.
It's true. It's true. He
didn't play like an MVP.
No, he definitely didn't. And when, even early on, like I always go back to that Agholor, the miss he had to Agholor early. It was maybe the first or second drive, right? He has him over the middle, crossing the middle. Huh?
Agholor could have had 200+ yards tonight.
Yeah, I mean that you cannot not hit him. You have to hit him there. And then I think he threw a pass to Agholor in the second half where Agholor had to go back and fall down and catch it.
Yeah.
If he hits him on the money, he's going to keep going. Then there was a pass to Ertz down, near the goal where it was kind of low, but I thought that I thought that could have been a little bit better and better placed. So and then he fumbled. Of course, the fumble was horrible, but look, it happens. It just happened. I mean, they left a lot of points. I don't think they gave Seattle their best shot. And Carson is definitely got to take some of that.
This it reminded me of the Dallas game, except they turned the ball over in the second half.
Yeah.
The second half they came out 30-0 on Dallas.
Yeah.
And tonight, who knows if they would have scored on that touchdown. You had 7. What was the score? They would have tied. Is that what it was? 10-3, correct?
Yeah.
Who knows what would have happened? But this comes down to just Russell Wilson had 3 touchdowns. What he did on third down. The way he was escaping the pressure and somehow getting these throws off. I mean, that one, oh, my goodness, the way he played tonight. And the way that they play backyard football. Doug Baldwin, they couldn't contain him at times. Richardson made a play, I believe. Tyler Lockett had that touchdown, that ridiculous Wilson throw. So he had himself a huge game, man. And
he sure did, yeah.
When you miss 17 points against the Seahawks, you lose. When you miss 17 points against the Bears, you can get away with it. You can get away with it against Dallas. You can get away with it on a lot of these teams. But you can't get away with it against Seattle. And it just sucks that he happened to do it tonight. He didn't play well tonight.
Yeah, he didn't. No, he didn't.
He played scared in the first half.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't play well. Seattle, playing in Seattle is a tough place. For whatever reason, going there, playing Seattle, they have our number right now. They really do. And, the thing is we may see Seattle again before this is all said and done. We may see them. So remember it, tuck this away, because we may get another chance at them. And I would love another chance at them as long as it's in Philly. Get them in Philly. And let's do this again, But right now, Russell Wilson, credit to him, credit to Seattle. They won. They deserve it. They were the better team tonight. And like you said, it's about LA. It's about how you respond. Let's see how Carson Wentz responds. Does he respond like in a franchise quarterback, or does he get down on himself? Does he struggle? Who knows? But I think he'll come out next week. I think they're going to bounce back, and I think we'll be okay.
Yeah. So we'll see how Doug handles it. And it's going to be a lot on him and how he has the team ready to go for the next game.
Yeah.
Okay? And, just talk about some other guys on the defense. I thought Brandon Graham had a big night tonight. I like the way that they were lining him up as a D tackle. They did it twice where he had a sack, I believe, and another one where he got into the backfield. So he was making a huge difference rushing the passer. And again, dude, I was just in awe. Dude, I was in awe tonight of watching Russell Wilson play. I was in awe.
Yeah.
He was that good tonight. He
Yeah,
was
Russell Wilson was. Yeah, he was awesome, man.
Hat tip.
Russell Wilson.
Hat
Yeah,
tip.
I can't argue with that. Russell Wilson was definitely the difference maker in this game. If you don't have Russell Wilson for Seattle, this game, there's no chance that they win this game. So, yeah, hats off to Russell Wilson, and you know, they were the better team. Everybody on the Eagles, in my opinion, whether they play good, the whole team, it's a team loss. Bounce back and let's get this going. You know, that's all I can say.
Yep. All right. So let's see. What else is there to get into? I think we pretty much covered all bases.
Yeah. Just ready to turn the page.
Turn the page. We'll do the better dingbats. We'll figure out if we want to do that tomorrow or something.
Yeah, we'll set a date
on this loss. We'll try to make sense of everything. I feel like I feel like Carson will respond, and I feel like everything's going to be okay. I just hope Doug learns from this, and the team learns from this, that you can't come out in the first half and come out flat. And we've seen them come out flat in recent weeks against the Redskins. They waited until about the midway point of the second quarter to flip the switch. Sometimes you can't flip the switch late on some of these teams. You got to flip it early. And they have been flipping it early. You know, I'm not saying they haven't been.
Yeah.
But when you come out like this against this team, this is what happens. And the Seahawks, I mean, if you think about the defense early on, they were limiting Seattle to these 3rd and 5s. It was like 3rd and 6, 3rd and 7. So they were in favorable positions in the chains. And that's just how good Russell Wilson was tonight. He was just able to get the ball out.
Yeah, he did. So it's a hard one, man. It's definitely a humbling one because I feel like, I feel like kicked in the gut. You know, this one took the air out of you because you had a division title ready for you, and you have to wait another week.
Yeah. All right. So, final thoughts. We'll get out of here.
Tough loss, I thought, all the way around, from the coach to the quarterback to the defense. I thought they all could have been better, and they all had their hand at times. But you lose some, you win some, turn the page, let's get the Rams, and let's bounce back. That's all I can say.
That's what this is about right now. It's about bouncing back. You can't let this be like the Chiefs and go on this slide. You got to bounce back, win against the Rams. Right the ship. Then you take on the Chip McApoo lists Giants after this. Let's take care of business. That's what it's about.
That's what it's about.
Carson Wentz, get back on track. And the Eagles, they will be okay. Have Ginger Jesus in your hearts, everybody. And hopefully they'll be okay. Philly 500, I'm Adrian Fedq. We're out.